Okay, and so what I wanted to showcase is, I'm sure if you've been using Unity ECS, Danny brought it up a little bit earlier, but we have this system API, and it's super handy because it allows us to do things like this get singleton, and there's get component. And basically, the idea is it uses code generation to kind of implement the most optimal way to, achieve that goal there. And it's really nice to use because we can often do these like, simple one-line things that do, a couple things in the background that we don't necessarily need to worry about. And it's just, we can trust that it's going to do the best thing for us. Now, sometimes, especially when using managed components, which are like, classes that are implement iComponent data, where we're, interfacing with managed types and things of that nature. The system API, it kind of ended up falling a little bit short. So for example, like if I wanted to, this is actually from the Netcode for Entities tutorial that I'm working on right now. So in the past, if I wanted to say spawn a health bar UI prefab, what I would end up having to do is get a reference to the prefab entity first, just by doing like a system API.get singleton entity, and then using the unmanaged type, this MOBA prefabs, which has like, entity references, so that you see that this is a public struct here, to get a reference to that entity. And then I would have to, use the entity manager by doing a state.entityManager.get component object UI prefabs, and then actually get the health bar prefab that I wanted. Now, again, it's, 2-line thing. It's not really like all that much crazy work. But it is sometimes a little bit confusing when you try to do something like a system API.get singleton, try to get the UI prefabs, you'll see that doesn't work. And then even if you have a reference to this prefab entity and you try to do a get component against the UI prefabs and get the health bar, that doesn't work. And even doing a get singleton entity against the UI prefabs doesn't work. So you'd have to tag, go off of another tag component or something of that nature. So the thing that I wanted to point out here is in the system API, there actually is a managed API, which gives you access to a lot of the same operations in the system API, but they're fully compatible with managed types. So you see that I'm doing a system API .managed API, and here's where I can do a .get singleton, and then the UI prefabs and get the health bar off of that. So this is actually a super handy thing. It's something that I've probably seen in the changelog as I've read this, but I never really it was kind of one of those things that I just kind of immediately forgot about it and never used it. And I think I actually saw maybe some of Danny's code that he was sharing with me one time where he was using that. I'm like, oh, that actually could be really nice to use. So I'm sure many people maybe already are using this, but there maybe not be, there might be some people who are not aware of this as well. So it is, again, a lot easier where I can just now do this super simple one-line system API.managed API. Again, gives us access to a lot of those functions. So that is the cache hit Unity Dots quick tip of the week. Danny, you got anything to add on that?
No, I think it's all good. There is, I guess, one, which is that actually one of the main reasons it was added, and I added it specifically, is the fact that all of these API, while available, are not that discoverable. The ironic thing is this one also happens to be one of those that are not that discoverable.
Yeah.
But actually, I think later on I might show some of the source generation because that one is in particular is interesting.
Yeah, sweet. That would be awesome.